We them ninjas, yeah. Chop it up like a blender, quick, fast, cut your grass, yeah. Chop it up like a blender, quick, fast, cut your grass, yeah. Chop it up like a blender. Saving green, be the team. We gon' pull up on the scene. Cut your grass by any means. It started out as just a dream, like Biggie. Now we the best in the city, like Biggie. Now we the best in the city. Pull up.
Ninjas, I just found out this is $30,000 retail worth of fireworks. Holy cow.
So I stock 3 series of weed eaters.
Okay.
The 3060 is the biggest, 29.5 cc. So all these TS models that have max torque, it has a gear reduction head. So you don't have to run the weed eater wide open. If you run Stihl product you're used to, you really have to run a Stihl wide open to get the power out of it.
Yes.
These you can run at much lower RPM or feather throttle. The most popular unit here is this 260 TS. It's a 25.5 cc for everyday use.
Shoot.
And these basically weight to power ratio kind of finds the sweet spot. And then there's a smaller 230 TS, which is 22.5.
Sure.
The guy that cuts part-time, or you're only doing very manicured yards all the time, or the homeowner that wants a nicer trimmer.
And they are commercial trimmers.
This is a full commercial trimmer.
Commercial, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I've got several customers that this year, I'm sure everybody, you're buying what you can find, whether, it doesn't matter what brand you're loyal to or you'd like, you have to buy what you can find when you need it a lot of times. And I've had a lot of customers come in that were Stihl guys through and through, and they've just had to buy a weed eater or had to buy a blower.
Sure.
And they try it and they come back and say, I'll take more, because they end up liking the product. And
for whatever
I mean,
reason.
it's just a phenomenal product.
Speaking of Stihl though, I just want to ask you, Stihl or Echo? You don't carry neither, do you?
Quality-wise?
Just...
I'd buy Echo over Stihl.
Why?
The way they run it. So Stihl, mechanically, Stihl runs a 4-valve engine. So you have intake and exhaust, and that's how they mitigate for emissions. Redmax, for example, uses a double-barrel carburetor. Echo mitigates through carburetor and other adjustments. When you run the 4-valve, it requires a lot more maintenance on the unit. Plus, you basically have to run their type oil mix, so you get very locked in. If you don't do the adjustments as needed, it's a much higher maintenance product. Then you end up with the machine running poor, low power, and then you're out of warranty and something fails and you're done for. So the other stuff is done as a more true 2-stroke, and it holds up and runs better. So the only thing Stihl builds anymore that's true 2-stroke is their actual chainsaws. And they do that because you're only allowed so many emissions credit. Just like an automotive manufacturer has to meet emission standards, so do these engine manufacturers. Well, they can basically, they burn up all of their credits on chainsaws so they can get the power out of them, and the rest of the product has to be this 4-valve type product.
#1 Walker dealer in the world?
We're trying.
How close? Pretty close?
We're teetering. There's 3 of us fighting it out. We held first place last week. We're in second place right now, so we just keep back and forth with the top dealer up in the Northeast. So,
how many walkers do you sell?
I think we've done 90 so far.
Wow.
So, I mean, you think it's a premium brand, niche market.
Wait, so far this year?
So their sales year runs September 1 through the end of August.
Gotcha.
On their like fiscal year with that.
Okay.
So for anybody that is in the market for a walker, we are chasing to be the #1 walker dealer in the world, as well as trying to break 100 registrations, which the current dealer that's in first place, current dealer that's in first place just hit 100 today. That's the first time ever any walker dealer has registered 100 sales in a year. So we're trying to hit that 100. We've got through the end of August to do it.
Okay.
I will caveat Walker with, they have a sales and service policy, meaning you must live in a radius around me where you could come back to me for warranty work.
Okay.
So that's basically how they control the market, to make sure you as a customer are getting good service from a dealer, and you're not just going all over the place to shop price.
Are these new?
These are brand new.
Okay.
This one just sold today. There's another one out front that sold today. These B models are new in the last year. This
Isn't that the one that I demoed
a
few weeks ago or months ago, whatever? I mean, beginning of this season, I think. Okay. And they had the decks detach, and you can put different attachments on there. Cool.
Correct. So the only one you can't detach the decks on is the R models. And I've got the deck tilted up on this, but this is a new homeowner model that they brought out. It cuts like a walker, it stripes like a walker, it handles like a walker, but it's just a residential spec unit at half the price. It's worth $5,000 as opposed to being like here at 11.2. So, but you buy it, you pick a 42 or 48 inch deck, and that's it. You can't interchange decks and attachments and all that. It's kind of just more set up as a mower.
Makes sense. Okay. Do Walkers run any specials at any point in time during the year or no?
No, Walker doesn't have that mentality. They want to be more of a premium brand, so they're pretty much, here's what it is, here's, and take it or leave it kind of thing.
Sure.
And that's fine. other than working with customers on financing and getting you a decent finance rate. That's about it.
And now that I asked you that question, Michael, any special financing or special, going on with the Wright or Ferris or Toro or the Encore that you just started?
So Encore does have a fleet program. Really takes about, I'd have to double check, 2 to 3 units, because it's based on dollar amount spent, not on number of units purchased.
Okay.
Wright's changed their program a little bit here recently, so the incentives, once you buy 3, it gets you to the next tier and gets a little more aggressive. Ferris is 2. Everybody offers the same financing options, let's put it this way. What most customers don't understand is 0% is not free money. Sheffield, for example, makes about 8.5 points of interest plus the origination fee from the customer for you to get 0%. So that's baked in somewhere. And it's split between the manufacturer and the dealer, and if there's a distributor involved. So for example, on Ferris, if you want a 0%, it's somewhere around a 4-point fee to me as a dealer. If you want 0% on Toro, theirs is around 3-point fee. Encore, I can offer you a 199 because they've subsidized that very deeply and I can get aggressive price point. But if you want 0% there, I got to add 5% to the price of the mower. So a lot of times it's actually less expensive to do the math and take an interest rate. And we got to remember, we're financing a lawnmower here. It's this much money, not this much like a car. So even multiplied out over 2-3 years, it's still very small amount that a lot of times it's less expensive to take the rate than the upfront fee. So even if you're not buying from me, talk to your dealer and just flat out ask, hey, what's the different buy downs on the fees, and maybe I'll take a different program. There are a couple programs right now that run, I believe, through July that are no dealer fee, meaning I can give you the cash price on the mower, and it's 0 for 12, 199 for 24, 299 for 36, or 399 for 48. This makes sense for you if you're a 12 or 24 month finance person. Once you get into 36, 48, it's actually cheaper for you to pay the additional fee up front and kind of call it prepay interest to get a 0 or a 0.99 or something like that.
So with all this going on in the world, has the financing changed much in this industry? I know pricing in the mowers, particular brands more than others?
The financing isn't changing.
Okay.
The rates are the same as they've always been. The programs are the same.
Okay.
The cost to me as a dealer is more expensive, which means it's in the price of the mower. Plus just the general cost of the equipment's gone up. So everything's going.
So that means the mowers are going to go up.
Everything's going up, but think about a mortgage. It's all-time low interest rates. So the financing piece hasn't really escalated yet. I would predict as soon as the Feds start raising prime and raising the interest rate to stabilize the housing and the economy, that's when we'll start seeing the 0% will go away, or it will just get very expensive to buy it down.
Why are we having such trouble in the lawn care industry to go up? Why do you think that is?
Why?
Yes.
So
cell phone goes up, right? You just said a house goes up, this goes up. Why is the lawn care guy? Yes.
So the thing that usually dictates how fast you can raise your rate is if there's something forcing the rate to go up, or what the barrier to entry is. The barrier to entry for lawn care, let's face it, is fairly low. You started out with a push mower and just grab it and go.
As most people have.
There's always somebody willing to do it less expensive. So you have to find a way to set yourself apart, be professional, have a uniform, show up when you say you are. I have more guys here that tell me they get so many customers just because they're willing to text or communicate with their customer and say, hey, we got rained out today, but we'll be there tomorrow. That's all the customers are looking for. If you can provide a level of service that somebody else can't, and give a good quality product, you'll grow your business. You say, hey, look, fuel prices went up. It's costing me more to get labor. I'm gonna have to bump the price of your yard $5 a cut or X dollars per month, whatever it is. People that wanna retain you will stick with that. Others won't. But at a certain point, you have to draw the line and realize what business is worth having and not. And when you start figuring out the time value of your money, your time, your route, how many customers is it worth having versus what customers is it not worth having? Because could you actually do lower revenue, but work less, but your net profit be higher? You have to figure that balance out.
Yeah.
At a certain point, you may be too big, but you don't want to be too small. So it's that Goldilocks and the Three Bears kind of thing. Which one's just right? And you can only figure that out for yourself.
So key thing, ninjas, you don't want to be too big and you don't want to be too small. The time is here to show you what I ended up getting. last time I was here, we specifically dedicated a lot of time to review this, check this out, really caught my attention. And as you ninjas see, the decision I made. Now, what I wanted to ask you before we conclude this video, and I really want to say thank you again for all your time. I know we're both busy. I got to get going, you got to get going, but you always take the time to really walk around with me and give us all the updates and stuff. But what I wanted to ask you, since this mower is new for right? And you know, it's new in the market and it's only been out for a short period of time. For the time being that it has been out, what are some of the things that, you know, and every mower will do this, you know, it's kind of, you learn as you go, but what are some of the things that have come across as issues or
common
things that
new failure points?
Sure, whatever you want to call it.
So the first thing I'd put out is put out a service bulletin. So your hydro drive belt, there's an idler pulley. The bolt, it's a carriage bolt that goes through there. I don't know if it was a defective batch of bolts or just molded bad from the vendor, but those bolts were shearing off. So upgrade it to a grade 8 bolt.
So really, anything you mentioned, has it been?
Not everything, but like that's a service bulletin. So that's a known issue from Wright. And honestly, we've sold 15 or so of these mowers. I've only had 2 people have that bolt break. So it must have been just a very small batch window.
So you're saying this is number 15?
Yes.
Okay.
This is number 15.
Okay.
So that's been there. Everything under here has been solid. On the back of the engine, you can see where the ground wire's hooked up.
Oh, yes.
So we've had 2 different mowers
right there,
acting like they were intermittently cutting out. Well, you can tug on all the wires, everything was solid. You tugged it just right, it wiggled a hair. So we found two units where just the ground wire was just that hair loose. For whatever reason, it bit down, but it didn't bite down that extra quarter of a turn it needed.
Gotcha. So that's been addressed.
That's been addressed. Okay. And like I said, it's kind of randomly.
I saw some stuff online like parking cables breaking or anything like that. Or
so we've yet to see that. Okay. I'm sure that probably has to do with more of how it's routed or a sharp angle or something to that effect. But we've not experienced any of that at our store. Okay. Like I said, that's really the 2 issues. I've had a couple that have come and they've had an oil leak at where the drain plug is in the frame. There's been an oil leak there. This one you can see is good. Yep. But it was one of the very first production batches, and the ring clamp on the back side of the hose was almost like just that 1/4 inch too short. It needed one more ring to grip onto to really tighten it down. So we just put a new clamp on it, and that was it. Okay. So like I said, the issues we've seen have been very minimal and small, easy fix. We've had one customer, and I say this is a customer issue because it's literally the same customer.
40 horsepower, unbelievable.
3 times has sheared off blade bolts. I've not had anybody else do that. And we keep figuring out what is it. All I can figure is this customer, because the last time he brought it into me, he said he hit a piece of steel. Well, duh. So he blames it on the mower, but it's him, and it's not warranty, and he pays for it every time. But he's got 20 hours on his mower, and he's on his 3rd or 4th set of blades and 3rd set of blade bolts because he breaks them off. But he mows horse pasture and acreage and just mows whatever. And if you've ever seen a horse water bowl, it's a good sized bowl. He literally sucked that up under the deck and just chewed it up. Yeah. Oh my God. He just doesn't care. He just goes, and he's full speed ahead.
That is something. Well, listen, buddy, thank you. I appreciate you as always. You know that, with your time and your knowledge and your friendliness and just always welcoming, man. I mean, I really, every trip I enjoy it here. Of course. And I'm honored to also have the opportunity to share my experience that I always get to experience here with my audience. So thank you for that.
No, thanks for coming out, because it's always a pleasure to see you.
Yes,
fun time.
And Ninjas, his information will be down in the description. But you know, call him, text him. I'll have his cell phone in there. Questions you have, whatever you have, he'll be happy to help you.
So Nick. Yes. One last question. Are you going to GIE?
I don't know, buddy. Are you?
Well, I got a ticket. It was only $10, so the risk is minimal, but...
Should I go to the GIE Ninjas? I don't know. The reason I say I don't know is because I never really made... All the years that I have gone, I've never made the decision this time of the year. Yeah. I always kind of make it towards the end.
I got a ticket. Maybe I'll see you Ninjas there. Yeah. I guess it's up in the air at this point in case something changes later in the year, but just a heads up, if you are planning on going and you need a hotel room, you better book that now. Yes, that is true. I'll have a booth with bodyguards. Keep you off.
Buddy, Thank you again. I appreciate you, for real.
Thanks,
Take
Nick.
care. Bye.
Take care.
Saving green, be the team. We gon' pull up on the scene. Cut your grass by any means. It started out as just a dream. Like Biggie. Now we the best in the city. Like Biggie. Now we the best in the city. Pull up. Saving green. Yeah.